This actually happened to me a few years back at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia. My sophomore year, I roomed with a girl named Kara. She was a jazz vocalist, but her main interest was opera. We had a small room on the 6th floor of a dormitory called Jupiter Hall. The walls were thin, and her late night singing voice practice would keep me up late. After a month or so of lost sleep, I convinced her to move her late night practices to the music studios in the Merriam Theater, building a block away. Around 8 o'clock one evening, Kara announced that she would be practicing late for an upcoming recital and probably wouldn't be home until around midnight. Great, I thought. That means I can go to bed early. I was beat, had a horrible day in acting studio, and was ready to pass out as soon as I had dinner. She said goodnight and left, coffee and sheet music in hand. I made some grilled cheese and soup, gobbled it down, and immediately began to prepare for bed. By the time I got out of the shower, my eyelids were so heavy I could hardly brush my teeth. I pulled on my PJs and crawled into the top bunk of our bed. I was out as soon as my head hit the pillow. I should take a second to describe the layout of our apartment. When entering the apartment, the bedroom was through a door immediately to the left. Our bathroom was inside the bedroom, just because the bunk beds, UARTs, is nice in the sense that you don't have to share bathrooms. Anyway, I woke up to the sound of the apartment door closing, opened my eyes, and groggily checked my phone. Midnight on the dot. I rolled back over and closed my eyes. I heard Kara in the room and stop in front of the bunk bed, checking to see if I'm actually asleep. She flopped down on the bed below me, which was strange. She was a stickler for brushing her teeth and washing up before bed. Then again, exams were just around the corner and we were all exhausted. The mattress below me creaked and then was silent. I couldn't even hear her breathing. I started to drift off again. I was just on the edge of a deep sleep when I was startled awake again by a noise. A key in the lock, door opening, and Kara entering our apartment humming an opera tune. The mattress below me creaked. Somewhere in New York City, there's an old homeless man missing both his legs from the knees down, who's spot along the streets in the corner of Lexington and East 21st, near Grand Mercy Park. Approach him after nightfall, give him some change, no pennies, no dimes, and ask him, what did you see on the other side? He will then tell you all about his travels to other rounds and times where he lost his legs and how he lost his money. It is up to you whether to believe him or not, but as you listen, you'll find yourself being drawn in with every story. You must stay alert, or the old man will notice you're not paying attention, and with a scowl, he will stop and pardon his wisdom. He will chase you as fast as he can, tarring on his stuffs. The other reason why you must stay alert is to check the time. Before midnight, you must interrupt him. Do not let him finish whatever story he's telling you at the moment, and say, I've heard enough of old man. Good day, and good luck. Then walk away. Make at least 2 left-hand turns around the block before going about your business. You must do this because anyone who has stayed to listen past midnight is never seen again. At least not in this particular plane of existence. Today was the day he was dreading. He knew they were going to be extremely busy, and quite frankly, he wanted to call out, seeing as he was already late. His thoughts were briefly distracted by his black tabby, quietly pulling at his legs, ready for his breakfast. He made sure to fill up his bowl before he dashed out the door, returning twice to grab whatever he forgot the first few times, and he was off. He breathed a sigh of relief as the customer left. It had been the best sales day of the year, and they were obviously going to celebrate it. He had been contemplating going on home, but he needed to unwind too. He had no serious obligations the next day, so he could stay out as late as he wanted. So when they asked, he happily agreed to go out with them. He couldn't open his eyes. He was barely conscious as it was. He slapped lazily around until he managed to shut the alarm off before he rolled into his stomach and buried his face in his pillow. The door creaked as his black tabby walked in and jumped into his back, where it curled up close to his head. The hot breath in his ear lulled him back to sleep. The doorbell continued to ring. He crawled out of bed and made his way to the front door. It was his next-door neighbor, a kind woman in her late 70s who still worked. She was in her business suit holding a trash bag. She said, "Oh, didn't I wake you up? I thought you're usually up by now." "I usually am," he said groggily, "but they let me have today off." "Well, I hate to come bearing such bad news so early in the morning," she said, patting his hand, "but I ran over your dear tabby last night when I got home. I came straight over to tell you, but you weren't home." He stared at her for a few seconds, before his silence was broken by his footsteps.